authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us. From personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
You know, I don't attend the parties. I just do my thing and go home. I do my work in the studio, I do my work on television, and I go home and I have my fun. I'm with my children. So, you know, I don't stick around for that. I never witnessed that, Harv, and this is 1,000% true. I never been to none of those parties, man.
Not yet.
And I ain't gonna lie, you know, I live a good life. I work hard and I play hard.
My name is Charles Lactibaudiere. I am the executive producer at TMZ. When the government's indictment of Diddy, they define freak-offs as his sexual encounters, sometimes with people, but oftentimes it's just three people. Diddy, a woman, and a sex worker. We have actually spoken to a male sex worker who says that he engaged in these freak-offs multiple times over almost 2 years with Diddy and another woman.
Who is rumored to be Cassie. You know, prior to Young Miami, it was Cassie. Then it was Young Miami. Before that, who was it? Who was he dating? I don't know. Y'all have to, we have to go back on Diddy. But I know recently would be Young Miami and Cassie.
He said that this happened in LA, in Miami, in New York, always in hotels. But the first time was in Los Angeles. Now, this sex worker actually has video of one of their encounters. I have seen this video, and it is porn. Straight up porn, directed by Diddy. So he walks into the hotel room. The woman greets him in lingerie, makes him sign an NDA, and then Diddy comes into the room. The initial meeting, he said, she starts out doing some dancing, very slow, very sensual, and he and Diddy are watching. Everybody's naked at this point, watching her dance, and then at some point she begins performing oral sex on the sex worker. Diddy is watching, covered in baby oil.
Higher than a cooter brow. Thank you all for enjoying the show today. We are reviewing The Downfall of Diddy and How to Freak Off, presented by TMZ, copies of TMZ. And yeah, Diddy is a hot mess. Okay. And, we're just following the content of what's, all inside the life of Diddy that brought him to where he is at this point now. He's still currently incarcerated in a Manhattan jail. I believe it's in a New York jail. We're going to say New York jail. And so, that's just what that is for Diddy. He's not looking like he's been denied bail 3 or 4 times, even at $500,000. Like, you better send it up to $1 million. I think the judge wants $1 million. You better throw your mama's pussy up on the judge's bench and $1 million, because I think that's what he's going to need to get you out of jail. You have to sacrifice that. You've been sacrificing asses for a long time. You can sacrifice your mama, nigga. No, but all the rest of jokes aside, like the judge United shot it down 3 or 4 times, and so he's gonna have to sit it out in jail until his trial. The downfall of Diddy. Remember to bless the content creator, who is me, Tanisha Talks Tees. On my Cash App, simply at $sign Tanisha Talks Tees. Thank you.
The sex worker said that what he observed was Diddy masturbating oftentimes while he was having sex with the woman. Now, on one particular occasion, Diddy accidentally picked up the sex worker's phone by mistake to record the exchange, which at that point was really just the worker and the woman having sex. At no point do you see Diddy having sex in this, but you do see him step into frame several times.
As alleged, Combs used coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines.
Sources connected to this case tell us this sex worker actually did meet with the federal prosecutors. He also produced this video, and he has turned over that video to the feds.
To date, the video has not led to any charges against Diddy. Diddy's lawyer tells us any intimate or sexual conduct involving Mr. Combs and the two others in the video, including the activities depicted in the video, was completely consensual and lawful. These freak cuffs are part of a cavalcade of lawsuits and allegations that are just mounting by the day. And this started with just a couple of accusers, and now the floodgates have opened.
Our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point to pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. I'm Tony Busby, a lawyer in Houston, representing victims suing Sean Combs. There's a very clear MO here, and it involves almost every time some sort of substance that's placed into someone's drink. And that's kind of the reoccurring theme, no matter if it's a white party, an after party, an album release party, whether it's a after concert party, whether it's a party at a club that continues in a hotel. It's that same MO.
Go get a drink downstairs.
Many who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs. One in particular that continues to pop up is known as a horse tranquilizer. You know, some of these cases, Harvey, are so egregious and the allegations are so outrageous. You know, I've been doing this a long, long time. I'm almost 30 years doing this and handled all kinds of cases, and I thought I'd heard most of it all. Some of the allegations that have been made are just, I mean, they're just outrageous.
I'm still standing taller than I've ever been.
I'm Lisa Bloom. I'm a victims' rights attorney. I represent Dawn Richard in her federal lawsuit against Sean Combs and a number of other people.
In the lawsuit, Dawn Richard, who was also a member of the group Danity Kane, accuses Diddy of terrorizing and sexually abusing her.
Lisa, I want to read what you are alleging against Diddy in this federal lawsuit. You are alleging gender-motivated violence, sexual assault, forced labor, sex trafficking, assault, battery, sexual battery, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, sexual harassment, gender discrimination, hostile work environment, retaliation, copyright infringement, violation of the right of publicity, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith, fair dealing, and fraud. You pretty much own in the kitchen sink here. Can you broadly describe what Dawn says she endured over the years of interacting with Diddy?
Sure, and it's true. We have a lot of legal claims against Sean Combs and many others that turned out to be strikingly similar to what the government alleged a week after our complaint was filed in the government's criminal case. Unfortunately, during the time that she worked with Sean Combs, she alleges there were a series of incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, false imprisonment, including locking her in places where she couldn't get out, a lot of threats of violence, and she witnessed, she said, Mr. Combs engaging in acts of violence against other people, including Cassie Ventura, who had her own lawsuit, and we've all seen that horrific video of Sean Combs attacking her.
My name is Tania Wallace.
By Diddy. 120 and counting. That is a staggering number.
Yep. I had the same reaction, which is, how can this possibly be that there are this many people who were impacted, victimized by one individual? When you start looking at it, and the conduct, at least from this client group, ranges from 1991 all the way to 2024. And when you look at that in the context of many, many different parties and club visits and concerts, then you can start to understand how that could possibly be this many people.
How do you fact check something that might be 20 or 30 years old?
Very difficult. What we always say in the plaintiff's law business is the plaintiff is the case. So you look like, what do you do for a living? What have you done over your lifetime? Questions like that. And then you start want corroboration. Who can put you at that point in time there? Do you have plane receipts? Do you have other witnesses? Tell me exactly where you were, who was there. You know, it's basically just doing the same thing in a very nice way. Obviously, I'm not cross-examining these folks and being mean about it. But on the other hand, I want to make sure that I believe them. And like I say, I've been around for a long time, and I'm typically a skeptical person. But typically, if I believe them and they have some corroboration, when I put it in context of what I know was actually going on, that's how we have to do it, and that's how it is in every case.
Who's the boss? Dudes is lost. Don't think 'cause I'm nice.
For the first time, we are hearing about victims who say they were minors when they were allegedly assaulted by the music star. The youngest allegedly just 9 years old.
An unnamed woman alleges Combs and 2 other men, including a former longtime president of Combs' record label, gang raped her in a New York recording studio 20 years ago when she was just 17 and a junior in high school.
You don't fuck with the best, drink with the best. That's it.
I look to the right of me, and in the corner, I'm looking like, are those midgets? Because people were it's people over them, like it's people trying to hide what they're doing. They're all huddled up. So I'm like, what is that? But no, they weren't. They were little people. And, I don't want to say too much. They were little people. So use your common sense. Dressed up like little Harajuku Barbies, red lipstick, looking like real sexy, revealing like cute. So I'm like, what the hell?
What were the little people doing?
Getting covered up, trying to cover up what they were doing. Just, I don't know, like being admired, being hid, something. But it's like, what are they doing here? Because this is a grown party.
Are you talking about adults who are little people, or are you talking about minors?
Am I gonna get in trouble? I don't want to say I witnessed any of that crazy stuff, but we all have common sense. Little people that's not supposed to be there.
You're talking about underage people.
It's a shame.
Were they involved in any of this, or were they just by themselves?
They were surrounded around adults, so who knows what was going on, but the question is, what are they doing there? So had I been participating, I would have known. And I feel like I participated enough by being there. because I took a drink. I just know how this goes.
Houston attorney Tony Busby announced that among the large group of people he represents, 25 were minors at the time of the alleged criminal activity.
I kind of look at these cases in two different buckets, if you will. One bucket is kind of the party bucket, where there's drugs involved and people are flown in and taken advantage of and sometimes kept longer than they anticipated. But then there's another bucket of people that I think is probably, the allegations are much more egregious, if that's possible, where younger people trying to break into the business are coerced, forced in some cases to do things they would never do. In some cases, minors, the allegations of parents and the former minors themselves of things that they were coerced to do to try to get a record deal.
You're talking about performing oral sex. I know you've alleged that on Diddy.
That's true. Correct.
One complaint describes an alleged incident between a then 16-year-old and the music mogul at one of his infamous white parties in the Hamptons back in 1998.
Have those minors spoken with the feds? Because I haven't heard that from the feds yet, that these cases involve people underage.
Some have. Some have not. As you can imagine, there's some of these folks that were minors at the time, and they're now, of course, adults with spouses and children. And, we're talking about conduct in some cases that are 15 to 20 years old, and some are very reluctant to have their name in the public sphere.
So the feds have been in touch with people who were minors who, at the time, who alleged they were sexually abused by Diddy.
I believe so, yes. This is based on the allegations made by a large group of people, many of which are very consistent. A lot of the minors involved were, in fact, young men. And I know that a few of these young men have, in fact, spoken to the authorities. Now, I can't confirm that any of the formerly minor females have. But again, I'm encouraging all of them to do so. I think it's more cathartic to let your story be heard. Let's air this all out.
All right, we are on a commercial with the Diddler. We are on the downfall of Diddy Part 3 inside the Freak House. Okay, we'd like to shout out our recent followers, Made in Honesty, Dominican Princess Parata, and Kenya Jones. Thank you for following. You can also bless the show by sending Tanisha Talks Tees a Cash App right at $sign Tanisha Talks Tees. Okay, you can also drop that in the comments and send me some stars. They're only a penny. My God, I can't have a penny for my thoughts of how I see the downfall of Diddy. So we are up to the lawyers. Now, Tony Busby, y'all, if y'all don't know, he's been under some scrutiny, some fire, some all of that, okay? But everybody's like, his lawsuits are falling through. His witnesses or his victims are not, victim, none of that. Like, they're not victiming, they're not witnessing, they're not none of that. Like, they're not credible, they're not solidified, they're not valid, they're not, even in the same state as they're accusing Diddy and Jay-Z. Now, Tony Busby, I hear he's being sued. I hear he's being sued by Jay-Z, and I also hear he's being sued by a couple other people for, malpractice and not lawyering at all. Like, he's not doing his damn job. So we're going to see where his victims go, if anywhere, with Diddy. It's like, I know y'all ain't playing with Diddy down to the feds with this shit. He going to sue the whole state of New York if you get out. Okay? Be somewhere a gazillion trillionaire in this motherfucker. But we are watching the Diddy Downfall Part 3 documentary. Compliments of TMZ. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are up to 34 people watching. Thank you so much for all 34 of y'all. Continue to share the video. 18 shares so far. Thank you all so much for sharing the freaking video. So also, please comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on Diddy as he is being taken down. Okay. I don't think there's a comeback for Diddy. I just don't know, y'all. We're gonna have to wait and if I can say. I think Diddy's ass is going to prison for life. They better hope his ass don't get the death motherfucking penalty. Okay. for these crimes. I mean, they look like they really want to throw the kitchen sink at Diddy and bury him with it. To where next time we see Diddy, he'll look like motherfucking Methuselah. Okay, I just don't know. But not for nothing, I really, hope the feds did not make a fool of themselves. Because if they did, Diddy's gonna get out, and all of y'all motherfuckers that was somewhere talking might not be talking. Let's listen. We are back at Diddy's downfall inside the Freak Ops, presented by TMZ. Compliments of Tanisha Talks Tees.
With Big Brother Puff in the house. Look, I mean, maybe it's unfair, but it seems like this speaks to what we've been hearing and seeing with Usher and others.
Well, Usher is the big one. Usher was 13 years old when he stayed with Diddy and said that he saw things a 13-year-old never should have seen.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. But I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
My name is Justin Lachowski, and I was at a Diddy White party when I was 6 years old.
Who invited you? How did you end up going?
My parents, they got invited. They get invited to those things to cover as press.
We fed y'all, we gave y'all some drinks, and now it's time to enjoy life. This is a celebration of life.
And they always bring me to the daytime events. We thought it was going to be a normal event where I'd go meet some friends that were my age, and it was not. So. I personally remember the topless women. It was about an hour and a half or 2 hours into the event where people started getting comfortable and getting into the pool, and that's when like the weed was out, the hookah was out, like that sort of vibe. I had never been to a Hamptons party where that was ever the vibe. Like there's of course adults having their adult beverages, but never weed smoke and topless women. I've never been to anything like that in my life.
You say that the party turned once it got dark. So topless women, marijuana, what else?
When it started getting darker and darker, my parents moved us to the other side of the house where that stuff wasn't happening, but where the actual house was and where the pool was, there was a lot of weed smoke, and it's what it seemed like rappers and like nightlife, sort of club life happening. When it really started going, we moved to another location. We stayed at the event until about 8:30, and then we moved.
Is there anything that strikes you today, looking back at maybe something that didn't even occur to you at the time you were there?
Looking back at it, I do believe that I myself am not a big deal or a victim of anything that Diddy did, but I think that the fact that I was there and I wasn't kicked out is very alarming for me now.
We have to expand our minds to take in the horrors of people who do things like this. When hundreds of people come forward, there is definitely strength in numbers, and we see that as a very positive sign.
Tell us out, your life is what you make it, man.
There are a number of people, mostly women, who have been coming forward. You've heard of the Busby law firm. They say they have 120 people. They've gotten thousands of phone calls since their news conference. So what do you think about that all these people are coming forward now and saying that they were victims?
Well, if you think about the money grab with that, that's easy. It's almost like one of those infomercials where they say something about mesothelioma or something like that. And if you've been affected by this, call this number. There's $3 billion available to pay you. For people who really went through that, yes, call the number. But there's also a ding, 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 and all of the scammers out there that's feeling like, okay, maybe we can eat too.
The number of people who say they were abused by Sean Combs has exploded since several news conferences where lawyers were soliciting other victims. And in one case, I think it was 12,000 people called a hotline. Does that
12,000 people. That's outrageously enormous. Okay. 12,000 people have said that in one way or another they were victimized by Diddy. That's crazy.
actually complicate things for real victims?
This is where you go.
Because clearly there are a lot of people who are just jumping on that gravy train.
The more victims who come forward.
What? For the site that you
as far as
asked
I'm
me,
concerned,
that's where
there
you
is
go.
Strength in numbers. It is true that every single person who comes forward may not have a claim, but I think the vast majority of them do. This is, in my opinion, a criminal organization with a lot of enablers that went on for many, many years. And I think there are a lot of victims, hundreds, perhaps thousands.
Another woman is alleging she was drugged and raped by Sean Diddy Combs. The violent sexual assault was recorded and shown to others.
The music mogul is facing 5 new civil lawsuits, including one from a woman who alleges she was raped by Combs when she was 19 years old.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing a new rash of civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault.
What's your reaction to all of these people, mostly women, coming forward and saying they were sexually abused or abused in other ways by Diddy?
Well, my reaction is I don't really have one because I'm waiting for my guy to get his day in court, and we'll see where the truth lies. I'm processing it as like, yo, it's a media crucifixion, man. They're crucifying the guy in the media right now. We don't know what's true or what's not true.
Following his arrest in September and arraignment for a sex trafficking and racketeering case, Combs remains behind bars at a Brooklyn detention center.
Let's just say something. Now, just for for Pete's sake, all of these allegations and all of this stuff that's going on, all the things that they say he did or didn't do, let's just say when all is said and done and he goes to this trial, he's exonerated. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
In response to these latest allegations, Combs' legal team says the barrage of filings were clear attempts to garner publicity, adding, in court, the truth will prevail. Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman.
His lawyers are saying that money is the operative factor for a lot of people who have made claims against him. How do you feel about that?
I do agree that a lot of people are just looking for a payday. It's looking like Diddy is a new PPP scheme right now. Hotlines, you got stuff popping on Instagram. If you ever been to a Diddy party, you might be able to get some compensation. That's like you reeling people in. You're damaging the real victims out here, Harvey, by doing that. Because anybody and their grandmother could call up a hotline and say they've been to a Diddy party and never been. Anybody could say they met him and never have met him. Let's just let him have his day in court before, everybody wants to start shooting him down.
Now, did you hear how Stevie J, Puff Daddy's brother, just said you're damaging the real victims when you allow fake, scheming, scamming ones to leak through in on this Diddy hotline. So where is you're damaging the real victims by allowing fake ones to get through and be heard over the real victims? Stevie J, are you saying that there are real victims? Because that's what it sounded like to me. His brother, his buddy, his bestie, you know what I'm saying, done let it leak out that Diddy does have real victims. But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get through because Tony Busby has set up a hotline for anybody to call.
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay gifted.